Welcome, dear yogis and guests of my channel. I'm Lisa Grail. Again, the format of podcast, so I propose you to have a slow, conscious, meditative walk in a safe environment to rewire your psyche to new information or to remind yourself what you've already learned before. When we are walking, we open the ability to dive into meditative state and reprogram ourselves faster. Today we'll dive into a subject that shapes almost every human decision, fear. But I want to propose something radical right from the start. Fear is not real. Fear is just a thought, a protective shield, an echo in the mind. And let's start with the nature of fear. Fear is one of the most ancient mechanisms of survival. Neuroscience shows us that the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure in the brain, activates when we sense threat. Within milliseconds, it floods the body with stress hormones, preparing us for fight or flight. But here's the paradox. In our modern world, most of the fears we carry are not about physical survival. They are imagined scenarios about the future, thoughts, fantasies of the mind. I like to call them hallucinations when I want to make it funny. We have fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of death, which is the main one. And yet, if you truly look into this moment, right now, none of these fears exist. They are mental movies projected on the screen of consciousness. One of the biggest fears of us as human beings living in society is fear of judgment and fear of public speaking or fear of stage. Let me share a personal story. I used to be terrified of public performances, the fear of being judged, criticized, laughed at. I had a bear disease. If you don't know what it is, it's when you are very anxious about your performance and you shit like a bear after hibernation and your guts are screwed by fear. It's a huge inconvenience if you want to be focused on preparation. I was on stage as a dancer since early age, and this bad disease would follow me before each competition. It was like a torture. But then I was tired enough with my background anxiety. It was spread to my daily life. It did not matter where I'm going. I noticed this background anxiety installed in me. Many years later, I intuitively found a simple method. I told myself, I will worry about it when I am on stage. Until then, I don't see audience, stage, so I'm not worrying. I'm focused fully on preparation, staying in the present. Like Scarlett O'Hara used to say, I will think about it tomorrow. And once I stepped onto that stage, second by second, moment by moment, something amazing happened. The fear disappeared. The brain shifted into alpha, theta state, and everything slowed down, like in the movie, becoming just a beautiful ocean of sound waves and stage lights. Suddenly it became obvious that reality itself is like a beautiful dream, and dreams don't judge. Dream is an adventure. When we stop evaluating ourselves and others, we shift naturally into a state of presence, or as I like to call it, comparing it to being high natural state. This is the essence of awakening. Before awakening, we evaluate everything. This is not a flaw of us as human beings. It's only how our brain works. When the left hemisphere of brain programmed that this is correct, this is not, this is good, this is bad, this is ugly, this is beautiful. If we think and use only with our left hemisphere, these judgments happen automatically. But after awakening, evaluation loses meaning. It happens automatically, without convincing ourselves, when both hemispheres come into balance, and what remains is spontaneity, authenticity, flow, and perception of reality as a dream, or as if you see reality for the first time. I can say in this state you think all people are beautiful, everything is beautiful around you, even when people are angry or drunk like a skunks. Non-judgmental perception is what they call unconditional love. Before awakening, no one can force himself to accept everything as it is. It's impossible because of the work of our brain. We will be only playing a role of kind, saint, accepting, loving, but it's a spiritual mask. It's not completely how it works mechanically. Okay, coming back to the topic of fears. So we have two types of coping mechanisms of psyche. Psychology shows us these fundamental mechanisms in the human psyche, and we can say hello to Freud and Carl Jung: compensation and adaptation. A traumatized psyche compensates. It's built on fear of death, which spreads into other fears: shame, rejection, judgment, its inferiority complex. And life of such person is always ups and downs, and grandiosity, narcissistic complex, or feeling that you are nothing. A conscious psyche adapts. It flows with reality instead of resisting it. It finds opportunities where trauma-based psyche can't see them. So this conscious psyche never has fear, because there are no even evaluations that something threatens you in the moment. I got used to focus my attention on opportunities, on abundance, and not on deficiencies. My psyche adapts to changing environment quickly. If fearing thoughts would attack me and barking dog tries to knock me down, I often told myself, if something goes wrong, I die. And so what? Death itself is not an enemy. It's simply a transition, the final illusion we all must walk through. And it's better to die as a personality, artificial character, before the actual death of the body. This is called going out of samsara and the circle of reincarnations. Of course, not all fears are illusions. Some fears are protective. Fear of falling from a great height, for instance, or fear of climbing Everest without oxygen. These are signals of the body's intelligence, protecting us from destruction. But the fear of the future, completely inadequate. Fear of the future paralyzes. It triggers panic, clouds clarity, and blocks creativity. Another strong example is the fear of going insane. Many people on the path of spiritual awakening experience this. The mind says, if I let go, I will lose myself. But in truth, the fear is just another protective mechanism. If you relax and surrender, what comes is not madness, but samadhi experience, union with the infinite. If psyche has this fear, there is no chance to dive deeper. There is another subtle fear that often goes unnoticed, the fear of responsibility. In my 20s, my hyper-responsibility good girl role at job was enormous. I could rule the whole supply chain and manufacturing, but ironically, I couldn't give myself the life I want and start changing something, jumping into the unknown with no warranty. I was completely blocked from any actions. And when we are not acting, when we hesitate, we often wait for someone else to decide for us. It's a trap. We shift our well-being and even the direction of our lives to outside forces. The company we serve for 8 hours a day, the insurance system we rely on instead of practicing preventive care. If we take responsibility for all aspects of our life, we don't need to rely on outside reality. For instance, fear of diseases disappears when we become aware of what is happening inside the body and when we cleanse it, gradually feeding it less often and more clean. I'm hinting here and proposing you my alchemy of health herbal detox and proposing lifestyle which will make you completely fearless and self-confident. When you know yourself deeply, decisions arise naturally. There is a trust in yourself and your space. You gain the inner core. It's unshakable. You do not wait for miracles or for life to change on its own, or someone who jumps on stage of your life and save you. Depression taught me this truth. No one will come to save me. I have to scratch myself from the bed and take responsibility for my actions. And yet, life itself will push you. If you remain stagnant, if you cling to the comfort zone, life creates circumstances to shake you awake. Because if we refuse to grow, stagnation itself will destroy us. It's the nature of reality. Stagnation is degradation. Moreover, we ourselves as creative beings are super bored with the Groundhog Day, and if we cannot decide to change something, we usually want spicy food and other stimulants to feel alive. The broken dopamine mechanisms after heavy drug usage, for instance, create a need to practice extreme sports, which unfortunately can lead to death, or other perversions like sex in public, everything which will make us feel alive again. One day I decided to play the role of fearless warrior. Meet changes as a warrior, staying calm no matter what comes. Breath by breath, being in the calm observation of reality. If your nervous system feels unstable, daily practice is the solution. For me, Kundalini Yoga has been that anchor. It stabilizes the nervous system, expands perception, and trains you to remain calm in the face of any storm. Fear is just programming of matrix, if you like. Babies should stay in the crib. Only warriors, adult personalities, adult souls can go beyond the known. Yoga helps reset the settings of unconscious fears for 100%. Back in 2014, I started practicing astral projections using techniques. By the way, I shared all these techniques here on my channel 5 years ago. For the first time, I saw my body from the outside, and it was terrifying. My mind screamed, what if I never return? Where is my boyfriend? But the connection to the body is strong, believe me, it's unbreakable. The lesson was simple. Relax, allow, trust. Fear dissolves in the moment you stop resisting. And this applies to life itself. Society pressures us, makes us afraid of what others think, pouring on us information about diseases, viruses, wars, disasters, and maniacs. But while you are reading all this, is it applicable to your life right now? Will it ever be applicable? I will tell you that it will, if you are afraid and agree with such scenario. Fear is the main tool to manipulate the crowd and make it obey to any new laws and restrictions. At some point, the fear must reach its peak, turning into frustration and even aggression. Why should I silence myself, staying at home, not self-expressing, self-sabotaging constantly, and feeding myself with pizza, watching movies, and using other substances? Why should I block the divine energy that flows through me? Why should I stay home when I want to visit a new place? Why should I block myself if I really want to contact this person and open my feelings to him or her? If I'm rejected, it changes nothing. I will never reject myself. It's all for good because my things and people will never leave me. There are many good ways to rationalize the fears through such conversation with yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself. Anyways, we are constantly in some dialogue within us before awakening. And sure, only expanded state of consciousness can eliminate any dialogues in your head. It's a beautiful state. You will never walk out of the window in this state like under drugs, tripping. But at the same time, you won't block your flow of joy and curiosity, because self-expression is normal. Expansion is normal for us. We are very curious, adventurous creatures. Research shows that when we fear, activates the amygdala. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought, goes offline. This is why fear makes us irrational. But mindfulness practices literally rewire the brain. They strengthen neural connections in the prefrontal cortex, allowing us to witness fear without being ruled by it. Carlos Castaneda, in his teachings, spoke of the warrior's way. A warrior does not eliminate fear. A warrior befriends it, respects it, and walks through it. Castaneda wrote, "Fear is the first enemy of a man of knowledge, but once he defeats it, fear becomes his ally." This is the shift of the assemblage point, moving perception from a world of threat into a world of power, or to shift from 3D perception of the world or first attention into multidimensional perception or second attention. It's also important to remember fear is not always the enemy. Sometimes fear is a helper. When there is a choice to die or stay alive, something extraordinary happens. The Kundalini energy awakens. In other words, the body releases its deepest reserves of power, sharpening awareness, fueling strength, and guiding us toward survival. Many people who have faced near-death experiences describe a profound shift, as if the matrix of ordinary programs was broken. For example, the fear of dying without food. You know, those people who are living without food, they usually come to this conclusion that if they will keep on eating, they will just die. Fear, in this sense, becomes a trigger for transcendence. But these extreme pathways are not for everyone. They are dangerous anyways and can be overwhelming. The wiser path is to face fears gradually, consciously, step by step. By meeting each fear with awareness, we free ourselves from its grip without needing to dance on the edge of death. Fear, then, can be seen as both teacher and ally, pointing us toward the places where our freedom still waits to be claimed. So how do we work with fear consciously? Here are some methods. Postponement is what I shared in the beginning. Tell yourself, I will worry later, I will think about it tomorrow. Right now, everything is fine. Free yourself for action in the present moment. Actions will always dissolve any fears. Breathing. Fear collapses when you return to slow, steady breathing. Doing Kundalini Yoga Kriyas for fear. I have Kriyas for emotions in separate playlist, and you can search for them. Next one, observer mode. Watch the thought of fear as if it's a cloud passing by. Do not identify and do not touch this cloud. Radical acceptance. This is for my warriors of light. Say yes to the worst case scenario. Even if I die, it's just a transition. As a perception and consciousness, I will never die. And one more. There are plenty, but I cannot name all them here. Return to the body. Move, walk, feel the senses. Fear lives in thoughts, so we need to ground ourselves by pointing our attention to the bodily sensations. And so, my dear friends, everything is very simple. We just need to implement all the knowledge into practice, as usually. Without practicing, without investment, we will never have any results. This will be only theory. Fear is just a thought, nothing more. Right here, right now, in this very breath, there is no danger. So be present, breathe evenly, consciously, let go. And if you are curious to go deeper into uncharted territories of reality, I invite you to join my Telegram channel. There I shared powerful practices of transformation, sleep deprivation, dry fastings, and conscious states of expanded perception. These methods reprogram the psyche and open new channels of awareness much faster than meditations. It's a real booster for those who had spiritual awakening and shifted back to 3D perception. The journey lasts 3 months, the exact time needed to rewire the inner system and awaken to the beauty of existence. So hit me on Telegram. I pinned in comments my Telegram address. So let's finish here. Take a deep breath and remember, there is nothing to fear. Don't forget to relax your crotch. The best technique to make the energy flow. Stay true and kind. The rest things, never mind. Sat Nam.